here we are.
I have 3 questions. I believe 2 of them are good. One I'm uncertain of. I don't know if this is just kind of getting redundant with this question, but it seems like that in any given moment, we have to make the best use of the information that we have at the moment. Kind of Bayesian processing is great and everything. If we kind of update our knowledge as more information comes in, terrific. But still, you know, I'm in a podcast right now, or later I'll be in another situation where the best I have is the information that I have. That's what I have to work with. How much does that influence how much we then kind of overestimate that, like, you know, all that's in our head is all that there is in terms of our kind of perceptual universe. And so how much does that kind of lead us to overestimate how much we know in something? Because we hear about things like egocentrism, and it sounds like a dirty word, but there is no escape from ego. We're all at the center of our own perceptual universe in one way or another, even if we are able to pop outside of it and imagine we're a speck of sand in the universe or an alien anthropologist or whatever. But we're still where we're at.
Yeah. So a couple of things. I think a perfect example of what you're talking about is the curse of knowledge, right? So the curse of knowledge is the fact that we tend to think other people know what we know. So, you know, a great example of it is you ask someone to tap out a song, and then you ask them, what's the probability someone who hears you tapping out the song, just the rhythm of the song, will know what song you're tapping out? And people have the sense that, you know, the probability is pretty high, like maybe 50% or more.
Interesting.
When in fact, it's like 2%, right? It's like there are very few songs you can pick out just from the rhythm. But because you're playing it in your head, you think everyone else can hear it too, right?
Yeah. That's so interesting.
The curse of knowledge is the bane of teaching, right? Like teachers just tend not to appreciate what their students don't know. And so, you know, like you could vilify people for suffering from this illusion, but I think, you know, the point you made earlier is just, it's exactly right. That is, how else are you going to judge what other people know, right? Like, how can I possibly know how much information you have about the song I'm tapping out when I'm in fact playing the song in my head? So I am really stuck in the sense, right? So this is kind of the converse of the knowledge illusion. The curse of knowledge is that I think that you know what I know, whereas the knowledge illusion is that I think I know what you know. But the knowledge illusion doesn't suffer from this limitation in quite the same way, right? Because I do have another basis for making the judgment. Namely, I'm asking what it is that I know, and I should be able to answer that question quite apart from you, right? Without thinking about what you know. So I think sometimes, right, the fact that we live in a community of knowledge definitely has this property on some occasions that you pointed to, which is that we just have no other basis for judgment. You know, Adrian Ward, I don't know if you want to talk about these studies, but he's done some really elegant work demonstrating how context dependent our sense of our own knowledge is. So he does work where he gives people access to Google, right? And then asks them to predict how well they're going to do on a future general knowledge test. Or he doesn't give them access to Google and asks them how to predict how well they're going to do on a future general knowledge test. And if people have had access to Google, then they think they're going to do much better. And they actually think more highly of their own cognitive processes, right? Because they've just been able to answer a bunch of questions by searching for the answer on the internet, right? So the internet should get credit, but people give themselves credit.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, it seems like that makes things messier than our hunter-gatherer ancestors probably were a hair more aware of limitations that they might have. Whereas now with easy access to the internet, this portal to this hive mind of most of human knowledge and all these archives right in your pocket. It seems like it's pretty hard for modern human to not overestimate their knowledge or ability to know things. And what I love about this curse of knowledge is some of these things do feel like a hair. Like condescending judgments that we make sometimes. We're like, oh, how could someone believe that? They're so stupid. But what's interesting with the curse of knowledge is that we're overestimating someone's knowledge of something. It's almost like it's almost thinking too positively in that particular domain.